Let's start to put together a lot of the different trainings, like our types of triggers, setting up custom events. We've walked through our standard event setup for Facebook with the Google Tag Manager. I shared a little bit about extending the standard events into custom events based on unique behavior that is unique to your site that could help you create more curated and targeted audiences inside of Facebook. Let's look at 4 or 5 examples from other websites that hopefully will inspire you for your own ideas for your site to start pushing in some custom event data to help you ultimately convert and make more money. The first example we're going to start with is a timer-based event. Let's take a landing page like this and consider your own campaigns. Have you ever run large prospecting campaigns where you're driving a lot of traffic to a landing page? Maybe it's a ClickFunnels page, maybe it's Shogun, maybe it's another custom landing page that you've created, but you have invested so much time into content, driving content on that page, and you want to know, what are people doing? Are they interacting with the page? Are they staying on page more than 10 seconds, more than 30 seconds? Are they scrolling down on the page? So we can see here, this site, we actually have a couple time on page events that are being sent. So in this example, it's 30 seconds. If we refresh, we'll see that the events are no longer. We just have the view content. But after 30 seconds on the page, where you can see there is a lot of great content here. They're hoping the user is ultimately digesting, pun intended, with the content here, and ultimately getting them to convert. So somebody that stays on this page for 30 seconds versus someone who's on the page for potentially 5 seconds, that's a pretty drastic difference in their engagement and potential for remarketing campaigns. So taking what we have here, so we saw that the 30-second trigger had not gone off yet, and now we can see the time on page. We have a 30-second event that was executed. Let's see how that actually can work in real life. Inside of Google Tag Manager, we have a Facebook event. Pretty simple. We have a track custom with a name 10 seconds on page, and we are recording the page URL for this. So really the only difference from this event to our standard events is that instead of track is meant to be used with our standard or Facebook standard events. We're using track custom. And then you can really name this event whatever you want. You can name it time on site, 10 seconds on pages, as you see here. Once you have that down, then you need to assign it to a trigger. So if you think back to the 7 types of triggers, where we had clicks and scroll depth and video watching, timer was one. So you can create a custom timer, assign it to this tag, and it'll do all the work for you. So our trigger here is set to 10 seconds or 10,000 milliseconds. We've attached it to the event, aka the tag and GTM. And now let's go to our test site, reload, and we'll watch this in action. So far, we do not have a time on site event that is executed yet. And now after 10 seconds, we can see on the left-hand side, this event popped up. We see our 10 seconds on page. Trigger also popped up, and it has the page URL that's recording, which is just a variable. Again, you can swap this out to be whatever you'd want. So that's a very simple example of trying to push more engagement, so user engagement data, to Facebook, because somebody who's on a particular page for 30 or 40 seconds versus 2 seconds, a pretty big difference. Example number 2 is a quiz. Quizzes are becoming more and more popular. We're seeing a lot of quizzes come through our site. We're going through and setting up very advanced tagging with our business and our customers' business. Quizzes is another great way to take really the unique data. So if you're asking customers questions specific about them, or about, in this example, your undertone or about your skin, you can push that data into Facebook and ultimately use that to build an audience based on exactly what they told you. So it could be based on their skin type. It could be if it's a sport quiz and you're asking what type of sports that they like. It really doesn't matter. You can just take based on their answers, push that into events. So we can see this in action. Let's refresh the page. The quiz question is select your undertone. We have event that is firing the quiz start, but we don't see anything based on undertone yet. I click on two different events here, two different questions. And now we can see the undertone selection has been captured and the shade selection has been captured. So by creating a very specific event, and this is really driven based on the trigger and the variable, attaching it to a Facebook event, we are now able to send this data into Facebook and apply this to our own remarketing campaigns. So the way that this quiz, or an example of how this quiz would be structured, we have our track custom, we have the name, so find your shade undertone selection. If you look at this, you can see find your shade undertone selection. And ultimately, we are using the click ID in this example to populate what the user had selected. So in order to determine what is going to be the best variable for you to use, you'll want to put GTM into preview mode. So as we pop over on our test site, put it into preview mode, click around, and then you can start to see, okay, the click class or click ID or click element, click URL, those are going to be the best variables for you to use to apply and assign in that variable. Example number 3 is something somewhat similar to a quiz, but it actually is not structured as a quiz. So let's take Diamondback. So they offer covers for trucks or pickup trucks, and they have a fit your truck feature. So let's just walk through the process of selecting my truck. So I have a Chevy Colorado, 2015, with a length of 5 feet. So at this point, once I click continue, I have basically told Diamondback what car or truck that I drive. Think about the possibilities that Diamondback could do with this, with their Facebook or marketing campaigns, or even pushing this into Klaviyo or other channels. But in this example, we'll just focus on Facebook. I've basically told them exactly what my car is, and we can see the fit your truck. This custom event is attaching all of my selections. So our Chevy Colorado, my range or year range, 5 foot. This is so rich of data that the remarketing that could potentially be used back at me. They could use my truck. They could show a Chevy Colorado. This is data that it doesn't take too long to set something like this up and let this data build up over time. And the possibilities for you to actually use that and leverage in your campaigns is pretty amazing. This is one of my favorites, by the way. The fit your truck tagging. Very, very unique use case, of course, but it's pretty cool with how I've basically told them exactly what I drive. I actually don't drive a Chevy, but if I did, I should be seeing a whole lot of Chevy trucks in my Facebook feed. Next example is a little bit more basic. Let's jump over to Stio and let's look at their products. So on their product pages, they have videos very prominently placed. We can click on this video, give it a pause, and now we can see the watched video Facebook event has executed. We can see the video name is automatically populated by the product name. So this is a data layer variable that exists on your store. Hopefully, if you've implemented the Shopify app that you can download with this training, just plug in the product name and you'll get the men's environment jacket as the output based on the video. So across all of their product pages, this video tag will automatically populate once a user, again, triggers the watch video. This trigger is going to drive the event, push the event data to Facebook, automatically populate the video title. Excuse me, so I misspoke. It wasn't the product name as a video title, but it's the same as a product name. Automatically populate the video title, and we can see the watched video is here. So now inside of Facebook, they have the ability to create an audience to split between those that watched a video and did not watch a video. Let's look at one more example here. Jumping onto Live Watches. So we have a watch builder, so a similar quiz example. Now just click on rectangle here. And we'll see our watch finder quiz results. And the face type, we're actually matching to an image in this case, where we have the rectangular versus the round. And we can see these will continue to populate. So we have our face type, round versus the rectangle. So we can make our way through this quiz. Again, it's a great example of their users driving and ultimately telling the brand, telling you what they're most interested in, whether it's round and quartz and potentially the size and functions, really telling you what type of watch in this case that they are interested in, and you can use that and apply it to your remarketing strategies. So that's four or five examples of creating triggers. Ultimately, we're starting with triggers and assigning Facebook custom events to those triggers, like watching a video, like starting a quiz, like tracking 10 seconds on page, pushing that into Facebook and making that available for you to create the custom audience. So you'll recall we walked through creating an audience where you can match different parameters, creating your audience, and ultimately assigning those to your campaigns.